Well, I mean, the physicality is logically the biggest factor.
Novak Djokovic has finally admitted what tennis fans feared all along. Carlos Alcaraz might already have the edge over him. In a stunning confession, Djokovic revealed that over 5 sets, the physicality and intensity make it almost impossible for him to keep up with the 1-year-old superstar. He even called it a biological fact, openly saying he doesn't recover as fresh as Alcaraz, and that facing him in Grand Slam conditions is the toughest challenge of his entire career. When Novak Djokovic speaks, the tennis world listens, and this time, his words are shaking the sport to its core. After years of dominance, after rewriting record books and silencing generations of challengers, Djokovic openly admitted that Carlos Alcaraz has become the mountain he struggles to climb. Think about how rare this is for a champion who built his career on unshakable belief and mental toughness, to now confess that 5-set battles against Alcaraz are almost impossible. He said it himself, biology doesn't lie. At 37, no matter how strict his diet, how perfect his training, or how sharp his mindset, his body doesn't bounce back like it once did. Alcaraz, at just 21, enters the court fresh, explosive, ready to extend rallies until even Djokovic's legendary endurance cracks. This isn't just a passing comment, it's a window into the reality of a generational shift. For the first time, Djokovic is sounding less like the unbeatable machine we've always known and more like a warrior acknowledging that his fiercest rival might already have the upper hand where it matters most. On the biggest stages, in the longest battles, when the lights are brightest. What makes Djokovic's admission so powerful is that it strips away the aura of invincibility he's carried for 2 decades. Remember, this is the man who conquered Federer on grass, Nadal on clay, and anyone else who dared challenge him on hard courts. His identity has always been built on outlasting opponents, dragging them into marathon rallies, breaking their spirit by never slowing down. Yet against Alcaraz, that weapon no longer guarantees victory. Djokovic himself said that when he enters a semifinal or final, he doesn't feel as fresh as the young stars across the net. And in tennis, being just half a step slower is the difference between hitting a winner and being passed at the net. Alcaraz's relentless power, his speed, and his fearless shot-making expose even the slightest dip in Djokovic's game. It's not just about strength, it's about the brutal pace of modern tennis, where recovery time is shorter, seasons are longer, and players like Alcaraz thrive on chaos. For Djokovic to say it's a biological fact that he can't keep up speaks volumes. He knows that every point now demands more energy than it once did, and against Alcaraz, that gap only widens. This isn't just tennis, it's a fight between youth and legacy, between biology and experience, and Djokovic is signaling that the balance is shifting. Djokovic made it crystal clear the real battlefield is the format. Over 5 sets, he admits the odds tilt heavily toward Alcaraz and even Sinner, but in best-of-3 Masters tournaments, he believes his chances rise dramatically. Why? Because time becomes the great equalizer. In a shorter match, Djokovic's discipline, precision, and tactical genius can smother opponents before fatigue becomes a factor. It's in those quicker battles that his experience shines through, allowing him to control the tempo, frustrate younger players, and close the door before the physical gap widens. But when the match stretches beyond 3 sets, when every rally feels like a war of attrition, Alcaraz's youth is a weapon Djokovic can't ignore. The Spaniard thrives in the chaos of a 5-setter. He embraces the grind, the sweat, the pressure, and somehow looks stronger the longer it goes. That's why Djokovic's admission is so striking. He knows that Grand Slams, the tournaments that define legacies, are where the format exposes his limits. And while he's still one of the greatest competitors in history, he's now openly saying that in the most brutal conditions, Alcaraz may already hold the advantage. Carlos Alcaraz is no longer just the next big thing. He's already the player shaping the future of men's tennis, and Djokovic's words only fuel that narrative. Every time Alcaraz steps on the court, he brings a mix of raw athleticism and fearless creativity that feels like a throwback to Federer's flair, Nadal's fight, and Djokovic's resilience all rolled into one. Fans see it, commentators can't stop talking about it, and even his rivals now acknowledge it. When Djokovic admits that Alcaraz has the upper hand in five-set matches, it's almost like a passing of the torch, a symbolic recognition that the young Spaniard isn't waiting his turn, he's taking it right now. And what makes Alcaraz different from so many before him is that he doesn't just challenge Djokovic in flashes, he beats him on the biggest stages, under the heaviest pressure. The US Open, Wimbledon, Roland Garros, Alcaraz has already proven he belongs at the very top. He's fearless, he thrives on pressure, and he doesn't crumble when history stares him in the face. That's why Djokovic's comments hit so hard, because they don't just come from a rival. They come from a legend who rarely admits vulnerability. And yet, here he is, conceding that the young lion might already rule the jungle. What makes the Djokovic-Alcaraz rivalry so electrifying is that it feels like the perfect storm of eras colliding. On one side, the veteran who has mastered every surface, broken every record, and built a reputation as the ultimate survivor. On the other side, the fearless prodigy who refuses to wait in line, who stares down legends without a hint of intimidation, and who has the physical edge to outlast even the toughest competitor. Fans know every time they clash, history is being written in real time. Their Wimbledon final in 2023 wasn't just a match, it was a generational showdown that felt like the passing of a crown. Djokovic had the experience, but Alcaraz had the raw firepower. And in the end, the young Spaniard walked away with the trophy, leaving the tennis world buzzing. That's why people can't stop talking about this rivalry. It's not just about who wins or loses, it's about witnessing the shift of power in front of our eyes. Every rally, every tiebreak, every fist pump feels bigger because the stakes are not just trophies, but legacies. Djokovic knows it, Alcaraz knows it, and the entire tennis world is hooked on every single chapter. One of the most shocking parts of Djokovic's recent comments is how brutally honest he was about the role of age in biology. This isn't the Novak who usually insists that with discipline and training, he can outlast anyone. Instead, this was Djokovic admitting the truth that every athlete eventually faces no matter how great you are, time doesn't lose. He said it himself, it's a biological fact. At 37, even with his legendary discipline, his recovery is slower, his body doesn't reset the way it used to, and that half second of lost sharpness can decide the outcome of a match. What makes this so rare is that Djokovic has built his entire career on defying limits. He's been the one to prove doubters wrong, to chase down impossible balls, to come back from 2 sets down and break his opponent's will. Yet now, he's admitting that against Alcaraz and Sinner, the game has changed. This level of honesty doesn't weaken his legacy, it strengthens it. Because it shows that even as Father Time chips away, Djokovic still refuses to back down. He's embracing the challenge head-on, and in doing so, he's turning this rivalry into one of the most human, most relatable, and most inspiring stories in sports. Even with all the records he's set and all the trophies he's lifted, Djokovic made it clear that his career is no longer only about chasing numbers. He admitted that, yes, losing to Alcaraz and Sinner on the biggest stages stings, but that's not enough to drive him away from the game. What still fuels him is something bigger, the roar of the crowd, the global stage, the feeling of contributing to tennis as a sport. He said every time he walks into a stadium and hears fans call his name, it gives him goosebumps. That emotion, that connection, is what keeps him going. And this is exactly why his rivalry with Alcaraz is so compelling. For Djokovic, it's not just about proving he can still win, it's about proving that he can still inspire. Facing Alcaraz, the player everyone calls the future, forces him to dig deeper than ever before. And for fans, that makes every match priceless. We're not just watching a battle for titles, we're watching one of the greatest athletes in history wrestle with his own limits while refusing to step aside. In that struggle, Djokovic gives fans something more powerful than perfection. He gives them vulnerability, resilience, and the fight to keep going when it would be easier to quit. What makes this moment in tennis history so special is that we are witnessing the ultimate clash between eras. Novak Djokovic, the man who dominated Federer and Nadal, now finds himself tested by Carlos Alcaraz, a player many believe is the heir to his throne. It's more than just a rivalry, it's a storyline that defines an entire generation of tennis. Every time they meet, it's not just about who wins a match, it's about what the future of the sport will look like. Djokovic brings experience, grit, and a legacy that stretches across 2 decades. Alcaraz brings youth, explosiveness, and the hunger to carve out his own dynasty. And the best part? Both men elevate each other. Djokovic's honesty about biology, his openness about struggling to keep up in 5-set wars, only adds more drama. It doesn't make him weaker, it makes their encounters even more intense, because fans know the margin for error is razor thin. When Alcaraz wins, it feels like the future is now. When Djokovic wins, it feels like history refuses to fade. This constant push and pull is why fans are glued to every rally, every set, every match. It's not just sport, it's theater, it's legacy, it's the passing of a torch happening in real time. So, where does this leave tennis right now? We are living through a golden moment, a crossroads where the old guard and the new generation collide on the biggest stages. Djokovic's confession about Alcaraz isn't weakness, it's a rare glimpse of truth from a champion who has nothing left to prove, yet refuses to walk away. He admits the grind of 5 sets favors the younger stars, but he also makes it clear he's not done fighting. Every time Djokovic steps on the court against Alcaraz, it feels like history versus destiny. Fans know they're watching something unforgettable. The greatest player of the past 2 decades, testing himself against the player who could dominate the next 2. And that tension, that thin line between what was and what's coming, is what makes their rivalry the heartbeat of modern tennis. Whether Djokovic finds a way to outlast Father Time or Alcaraz cements his reign sooner than expected, one thing is guaranteed. Every match between them is must-watch. Every point carries history, and the torch of tennis greatness is being fought over right in front of our eyes.